Teaching your dog to leave something alone on command can be a pretty tricky thing to teach your dog. But with consistency and patience, you can teach your dog to leave anything alone anywhere. So grab your dog's kibble and a tasty treat like a piece of cheese or some meat, and let's get to it. Lisa! Good girl! To start, get down on your dog's level and give them a piece of your cheese or meat to show them what tasty treats you have. And then take a small piece of their kibble and lay it out a little bit away from them. Good girl! And when they don't go for it, give them some of your better treats. Good girl! If they go for it, just close your hand. Good girl. And don't give them the treat. If your dog is patient, good girl. Then reward them with your treat. Good girl. It's easier to do this when your dog is already worn out. So exercise them first. Good girl. So that you have a higher chance of succeeding before trying it again. And gradually move closer. Good girl. To their nose. Because the closer it is to their nose, the harder it is for them to resist the treat. Here you go. Lisa! Good girl! And then start rewarding them for looking you in the eye instead of just around or at the food. Look at me, good girl. Look at me, good girl. Lisa, look at me, good girl. Once you're confident that your dog is good with kibble, then start to put a little bit of your higher currency in your hand. Look at me. Good girl. Good girl. You could see her thinking there. She was gonna go for it, but decided not to. Good girl. Oh, get the belly. Look at me. Good girl. Lisa, lay down. Thank you. Lisa, look at me. Good girl. There you go. Take a bigger piece in your hand and set it on the ground. There she goes. She's going to go for it this time. Don't let them have it. Just cover it up with your hand if they go for it. This is harder for a dog because usually they're used to everything that's on the ground is theirs. But we need to teach them that that's not true. Good. Now, Lisa is very excited when it comes to toys, and not as much when it comes to food. So that first part was easier for her, which is why I did that. I broke it down into small steps so that she would learn quicker what I wanted her to do. So the Frisbee is her ultimate favorite toy, so I'm obviously not going to ask her to leave this alone yet, but I'm going to start with a different toy that she values more than treats. And so I'll hide the Frisbee and we'll work with this for now. Lisa, sit. Leave it. Look at me. Good girl. And I'll give her the Frisbee as a reward. And then eventually we'll build up to the Frisbee. Girl, sit. Leave it. Look at me. Lisa. Good girl. Good girl. See, that's where she sit. That's where she loses it, all her self-control. So I'll tell her, stay. Leave it. Look at me. Look at me. Good. Leave it. Look at me. Good girl. So this is pretty hard for her, but it would be nothing like leaving this alone. Lisa? Leave it. Look at me. Lisa? Good girl. Leave it. Lay down. Lisa? Lisa, down. Thank you. Stay. Leave it. Good girl. So now I'll have her sit, stay. Lisa, come. Leave it. Good girl. I'll start asking her to do other things while there's a distraction around so that she understands a bit better that I don't have to be right there for her to leave something be. Sit. Stay. Come. Leave it. Good girl. Come on, all the way. Good girl. Sit. Stay. Come. Leave it. Good girl. Good girl. Sit. Stay. Come. Leave it. Good girl. Make her walk past it and do as many things as I can to show her to leave it in all circumstances. But now I'm going to try with the Frisbee. So I'm going back to sitting down with her. Sit, stay, leave it. Good, look at me. Good, okay. And make sure when you're dealing with your dog's toys and teaching her to leave it alone, that you tell them, okay, you can go get that now, instead of just throwing it for them. Leave it. Girl, look at me. Good girl, okay. Because that will make them understand much better that in certain times it's not okay to go get this, but in others it is. Lay down. Leave it. Lay down. Leave it. Girl, look at me. Good girl, okay. Because you don't want her to go chase after some kids in the park because they're throwing the Frisbee. Because she has no idea that that's any different than throwing the Frisbee at home. Lay down. Lisa. Stay. Leave it. Lisa, come. Nope. Come. So there I went too far, and so I'll have to go backwards. Lay down. Leave it. Good girl. Now I'm going to try it standing up. Lisa, sit. Stay. Leave it. Lisa, sit. Leave it. Sit. Stay. Leave it. Okay. Oh. Sit. Leave it. Leave it. Good. Sit. Okay. Go get it. Sit. Leave it. Girl, stay. Leave it. Good girl. Stay. No, ma'am. Go back. Sit. Stay. Leave it. Good girl. Okay. Sit. Leave it. Good girl. Sit. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Oh, shoot. Sit. Leave it. Good girl. Leave it. Good girl. Good girl. Lisa, sit. Leave it. Good. So now she's starting to understand better now that I got lower, and we'll work lower for right now because that's where she understands me still. Sit. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Good. Good girl. Come on. Good girl. Let's try this again. Sit. Leave it. So that was too far. Sit. Leave it. Sit. Leave it. Look at me. Good girl. Leave it. Good girl, look at me. Good girl. Stay. Okay. Leave it. Sit. Yes. Okay. Now she is getting it. she was not leaving that frisbee alone at the start of this training session. So obviously Lisa is not perfect at her Leave It, but she is much better than when we started this training session. Be consistent with your dog and keep practicing, and your dog will eventually learn to leave it when you leave anything anywhere alone when you ask her to. And I'll keep you up to date on Lisa's training on Leave It, but for now, we'll end our training session on a high note. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe and hit the bell to hear when new videos come out. Have a wonderful day!